are now tuned in to the OSINT Curious podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another edition of OSINT Curious Project. I am Ginsberg 5150, and I'm joined by my illustrious co-host here. So we'll go around the table. So take it away, Micah.
Hey, everybody. Micah Hoffman over here, coming to you live from Australia.
That's right. All right, who else is with us?
Well, Dutch OSINT guy here, coming to you live from the back of my cabinet.
My basement.
Better than Torture Zone. Okay, who else is with us here?
Well, it's Technisette, coming live from the dark side of the internet.
Yes. Nice. Digging all those dark webs. Nice. Okay. And who else we got?
Stuck in Manicam application.
Yep.
Sector 035.
Nice. Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to all the other attendees. We really appreciate you guys sharing the time with us, even though the time change has really thrown me for a significant loop. So I appreciate everyone else for being around. Okay, let's get into it. I will start to share my screen like I know how to do. Okay, so yeah, OSINT Curious got a little update here, a little a new picture, a new avatar. So this is what we got going on here. I think it's really cool. I really like how it kind of came together, and many props to Kirby for all the effort that she put into working with the designer and all that stuff. But what do you guys think?
Well, I think it's really good that we made a man-woman-ish logo because, well, we have so many people joining our show and tweeting about our show, and it's not all men. And I think that's really important to point out that OSINT Curious is for everyone.
We're all about genetic hybrids.
Yeah.
No, that's not it. Those are cyborg. No, I mean it is. And Ray Baker, who's on the chat here, she hit it on the head. It is about inclusiveness. It's about creating that community. It's about making sure everybody's welcome, regardless of your gender and your knowledge level and everything. So
hell yeah,
I like it. I like it a lot.
I think that's what we kind of envisioned when we started talking about like what we would be, doing on the show, and from old hat to brand new to the to the community and stuff. It's something that we all have questions that we're all learning, so it's good. Awesome. Okay, let's see. Get into a little bit more here. I'm going to not be able to say this name. Swindindi?
Sinwindle.
Sinwindle? Okay. Well, put an awesome infographic here up for the TikTok attack surface for OSINT investigators discovering, via the unique ID, the nickname, the profile, and then follow it all the way down to the likes and the followers and stuff. That was really cool to see because I know TikTok has become one of those platforms where there's a lot of visual information. I don't know that a lot of people have been playing with how to get information out of it, but it's nice to see that we're starting to dig into the usernames and trying to trace it back here. So this is very cool. I saw this come up on Twitter there.
Yeah, and he even added a few new tweets like a couple hours ago, pointing towards you can make your own bookmarks which contain pieces of JavaScript which will pop out, let's say, the full profile picture or maybe the username or the user ID. And he also put it up on his GitHub so you can review the code if you don't trust the code yourself, or maybe tweak it and fine-tune it. Some really good stuff from Sinwindi.
Yeah, definitely. I love when people share this type of stuff. A lot of companies, a lot of places don't share this because this is kind of, for their OSINT investigations, this is the secret sauce. This is what they do. But thank you to Sinwindi for sharing, how they look at TikTok and what they look to connect and collect and process from an OSINT perspective. Well done.
Yeah, and especially we all see TikTok grow and becoming more popular. So it's also becoming more and more of an interesting landscape to look at for your open source intelligence investigation. So I'm very happy that someone took the time to make this and describe it all and blog about it because, it's the new upcoming kid on the block.
Yeah, it is kind of funny watching the progression of this as a social media kind of platform where a lot of people are introducing, music into it, and then they're even doing the lip sync side by side stuff. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, the duets.
Yeah. So it's weird to see the progression of like the social media accounts, because that type of thing kind of did happen as well, or musical things like that have happened and were kind of a natural progression during Facebook and some of Instagram stuff. So it's weird to see that some of the same cadences kind of follow along on these visual platforms. So it's kind of nice because, people are picking it up and we can use it as a tool in our stuff, but it's weird to see that some of the same things kind of follow that trend. So it's kind of neat.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So for the other stuff that they put up, the JavaScript and stuff like that, does that scrape a lot of the stuff and dump it out into something, or is that just it just?
Well,
do
you know those bookmarks that Bazel used to provide? Yeah, the bookmark.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't see that addition stuff, so that's awesome.
No, he just posted it like a few hours ago, so
I would have been asleep.
Yeah. Well, and when you visit the page, you click the bookmarklet, and then using JavaScript, it extracts certain pieces and then just shows it to you essentially in a pop-up. Is that what you saw, Nico? Yeah. It just brings that data to the front. You could scrape through the HTML or the JSON in the page to grab the same thing. This just makes it a lot faster and easier.
That's cool. I'll have to check that out. That's neat. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, thank you. That was really neat to kind of dig into this week's stuff. So it was fun. Okay, on to this next thing here. Nobody is talking about this, but no, I'm just kidding. I thought it was book. Yeah. So Michael Bazel put up his own little investigation for the TikTok account stuff, which was kind of cool. I did not dig into a lot of this stuff, so I don't know who else wants to really talk about this.
Well, I did. The funny thing is that I think the thing that Sin Windy did, and you see on replying underneath it, the community immediately did some additions to Bazel's blog. They were like, "Hey, good luck, but I found some more." And someone says, "Well, hey, there's more." And someone else says, "Hey, but do you already know about this?" And this is what I particularly like about his blog, triggering others to step in and say, well, you can also do this and add stuff. This was really good. This was a good thread to look at.
Yeah, I saw the Google Dork here before I saw any of the other stuff, and I've always followed on stuff, and he was part of the other Slack group that we had, and now he's part of the OSINT.team stuff as well. He's kind of back in there, so I played with that for a little bit, and that was kind of neat to go through and find just the Google Dork to go through and get username stuff, but the addition of all this stuff and just the amount of TikTok information that came out this week was pretty cool. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's definitely a platform to watch. Although over here in the United States, they're looking at a national security risk because TikTok bought Musical.ly a little while ago.
Yeah.
And they didn't follow the right process for doing that, since it was a $1 billion purchase. And so that was the somebody in China investing $1 billion in the United States. So I'm not sure what they're looking to do here, but TikTok's currently under suspicion or under review investigation for national security concerens.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'd not heard of Musical.ly prior to them, so yeah. Something to watch, I guess. That's cool. Yeah, because like we all know, everything kind of changes in OSINT from month to month, regardless of what platform it is. So if something gets taken down because of this improper use or funding, then that's definitely something to look out for.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we move on to Sector. This is just the tweet about the Instagram and how we're not really allowed to go through and look at stuff unless you're logged in. So this is kind of the workaround for that stuff. And I think Sector, we're going to look at that a little bit later live. Is that right?
That's absolutely fun.
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be cool. So just, if people have been looking at Instagram and, not being able to go through and log in with a soccer account, or, not wanting to log in and still view stuff, there's some stuff that we're going to try to work on here for you guys. So that'll work. All right, move on a little bit more. And what is this? This is OSINT Combine. talk about more of the Instagram pop-out stuff, and a GIF of his action with trying to get through some of the lockdown there. So that works a little bit better. But we'll get into more of that as well.
Well, and I mean, Sector's going to cover this later on. We're going to have a whole skills section where he's going to go through this. But one of the big things that people found was that with the new Instagram, they're only allowing you to scroll down part of the way on results and seeing things, and then they pop up a banner that says, "Hey, you have to log in." And Technisette, Sector, OSINT Combine, and a bunch of other people said, well, you don't really have to do that. So later on, we're going to go ahead and show you, Sector is going to show you himself how to get past it. But OSINT Combine over here in Australia, he also posted a really nice thing that we'll put into the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and then yes, corporate profiling, the advanced LinkedIn searching, more from OSINT Combine. I actually did pull this up and read through this. I have not gotten time to check it completely out here because work and life and all this stuff. But it looks like it's more advanced skills for LinkedIn. Is that correct here?
That's right.
Is this more than X-Ray?
Oh yeah, it's much more. So this is a OSINT Combine. In full disclosure, OSINT Combine sponsors OSINT Curious project here. But this is a tremendous resource that OSINT Combine has put out. This is essentially it's not just how to go into LinkedIn and run some queries using some LinkedIn dorks. It's really an analysis of what data is in LinkedIn, how it's all connected, how you can extract it. And there's some really good stuff in there. It's a long blog post, but I found it really helpful.
I like the way how they break it down by on a technical level, on a non-technical level. They go a little bit deeper in on how the analysis within LinkedIn goes on linking people together or articles together, and how you can extract that information, or at least pivot into that pieces of information. It's a really good write-up and a lot of detail in there.
Yeah. And LinkedIn is becoming a very popular source for a lot of this recon type stuff, so it's good to see that we're digging into it more.
Yeah, and the blog post is really well written too. There's lots of pictures for people like me that don't like to read and or can't. Yes, it's hard to read Australian. I mean, it's so
upside
different.
Down. That's such a joke. Sorry.
Yeah, it is.
It is really good, and some of the stuff I've not seen in here before because I've never seen the the market screener. So that was something I was looking into. Open corporations is a really useful data set that I have kind of looked into recently. Plus the other, the Open Corporation CLI. So that also makes it easier to go through and pull some of that stuff too.
You mean Open Corporates?
Open Corporates. What did I say?
Open Corporation.
Yeah. There's a reason I shouldn't leave this, but you guys keep letting me. I don't know. So it is a really good blog post. So we'll link that, and for the people on the podcast and stuff, it is OSINT Combine, and it's under corporate profiling, advanced LinkedIn searching more. So again, we'll have that in the show notes and stuff though. Technisette, were you gonna say something? I think I rolled over you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. I was just going to say that I really liked the blog post too, especially because I recently attended a sourcing conference, and I was amazed to see how many recruitment is alike like what we do, because recruitment or recruiters, they are looking for people who fit specific characteristics. Sorry, my English is not always that good. To find somebody to fill an open vacancy. And we are looking for people who fit a certain profile to fill up our vacancy in our investigations. So we're actually doing the same stuff, but we refer to it in different words. So we are calling this OSINT investigations, while recruitment calls it sourcing, or they call Google dorking Boolean strings or X-raying, but we're doing the same thing. And it was amazing to learn from those people, because they do a lot of web scraping, for instance, in order to find the specific candidate. And they use an awesome set of tools too. So I really enjoyed myself during the sourcing conference.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. So much of the stuff that we do, kind of in the Venn diagram of, data searching, data lookup, between marketing, research, OSINT and recruitment, it all plays a place in how you search and what you're searching for. So it's very cool to see that stuff. That's awesome. That's neat. Yeah, it's a really good article. So check that out, especially if you have any interest in LinkedIn and searching for fingerprinting for corporations and org chart stuff. So it's really good. Okay, so this is another Twitter post by Europol. 4 victims of child abuse have been tentatively identified as results of global task force hosted at Interpol. Anybody want to read this through? Is this more of the identifications of the hotel room stuff, or is this something different?
Yeah, it's more of the identification of the objects and things. If you just scroll down just a little bit there, they're replying to their Europol post.
Wow. Okay,
and you can see there. So for everybody that likes doing OSINT for good and trying to find people like the Trace Labs, missing persons, CTS and all, Europol asks for help all the time to identify objects, to identify locations. And you can see on screen here, or in the show notes, we'll put the link to the page, but essentially they will cut out a piece of clothing and say, hey, this is very distinctive. Where have you seen this in the world? Where can somebody buy this onesie or this shirt? Or where's this location where somebody was abused or has been found? It's another OSINT for good thing. And the good thing about this is that they're not just asking, they're telling you that, hey, the efforts of people to help out have really been successful.
Yeah. I mean, I know that we do, well, I don't want to say we, but I know like Sector really has one of the days for the geo location stuff, but this goes kind of even a level deeper in regards to, things in the environment that may be unique and identifiable. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we at Bellingcat, we immediately jump on these. I already can tell you we found a couple of the new ones already, which will be made public in an article, because it's so important to find these child abusers. So this is
absolutely.
Yeah,
this is an amazing return, like on kind of the investment of that stuff. There's not a lot of stuff you can quantitatively say this brought us back X amount of dollars, but like the human capital on this stuff it's just amazing. Out of curiosity, for a year I've been recording every attack claimed by ISIS. I've marked each one of them on the map. The heat map is the result of my work. So this is just more tracking in regards to the level of terrorism and the attacks that have been claimed responsibility-wise by ISIS and other things. So more of that type stuff, which is very interesting to go through and kind of see where the patterns develop. This is one of the things that I always talk about in some of my talks is we don't ever talk about the time. OSINT investigators have a long tail on stuff because we can go back for as long as there's recorded history on stuff and we can put pieces together. And that's more of what this stuff is, which is amazing.
Yeah, and what I found particularly interesting, that someone is actually taking the time to plot the claims that ISIS themselves claim, just to check them, for instance, with other claims from freedom, liberation armies or whatever, just to check both sides of the party. It's really interesting. And when you zoom out of the map, for me, for instance, it was particularly confronting and amazing that it's all over the world. When you zoom out of the map, when you go into the map, you would expect it to be only near Syria, for instance. But when you zoom out, you will see some attacks in Russia or even in Europe, we know, but also in Africa. But the Philippines, it's everywhere. And they're claiming attacks everywhere. So that tells something about where their thought good is being spread also.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Like it definitely gives you a visual representation of where their kind of, I don't know, centers of operation or whatever, but their easiest components to go through an attack are, especially. Yeah. So that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's all from, this is just, for me, this is also part of being OSINT curious, just keeping track of where they state they placed an attack or bombed something or did something else. And someone said, let's plot a pin on the map and keep track of where you claim your attacks.
Yeah, this is open information that they're giving us. Whatever. This isn't something you have to suss out here. This is saying, hey, we did this, so yeah, put it on the map and go back to it, and you can kind of over time really lay out where they're attacking, and know if you are a government organization, or if you're an NGO, or if you're trying to bring relief to people, this is where you would want to go through and start maybe targeting that stuff, so that you can direct a lot of the other good aid that you're trying to do to the people who have been the most affected. So it kind of goes both ways, which is nice.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that reminds me of Sector's Medium post from a little while back about open data, that there are these huge data sets that people and companies and governments now are releasing with just a huge amount of events or activities or just things that are connected, and they release it so that other people can take it and analyze it. And I like to see what people do with this. This is really cool. I mean, it's helpful.
Let's see here. Oh, I did not read this. Kirby leaked this on Twitter, and this was the Vice article, how someone accidentally found there was uncovered a national scam on Airbnb. Anybody want to get into this? This seemed neat.
It's an awesome article. Oh, I've read it in one go. It's really good. The thing is with Airbnb, people book a room, book an apartment, and then last minute they get a call and go like, well, I've got some problems with the plumbing, so I can hook you up with a better deal. Just let me know whether you want to take it. But you make that deal in private, so away from Airbnb. So you're not bound by any of the legal stuff from Airbnb. You go to the other place, which turns out to be just like a big shithole. Sorry to say that. And then people have to try and fight and get money back. And the whole issue after that is like the review system. You give a better review, they give one back. So it's a really big issue. There are only losers, no winners, and Airbnb is just not able to do anything until they change their policies. But the person, I think it's a woman, if I recall correctly. I think it was someone called Ali.
Yeah, Ali
Conti. Yeah, Ali Conti.
Yep.
She uncovered the whole scam. She went down the whole rabbit hole, found the people running these places, and they got houses all over the country. It's really, really interesting. I really do recommend that anyone read this. There's quite a bit of OSINT in it, not so deep, but the whole story and the scam itself, it's really interesting to read.
Yeah, that was what I was going to highlight, two sectors, that there's a bunch of OSINT techniques like they talk about in there, just doing like right there that if you scroll down just a little bit further on that page, they reverse image search that beach scene, and they say that, hey, this is actually associated with just stock photos. Then right here in this picture, they show the exact same image in multiple views. And Josh Huff, who's also a member of OSINT Curious, he was mentioning that one of his favorite things to do to practice his OSINT geolocation skills is take the listings from Airbnb and then try to find where they are in the real world, because Airbnb doesn't show you exactly where this place is in the real world until you've agreed to stay there. So what he does is he takes the pictures out the window, other information from the comments, and then tries to figure out where this thing exactly is. But that's beyond this article. This article is revealing this scam, and it's interesting stuff.
Yeah. That's neat.
I'd like to do the same as Huff does.
Yeah, we do the same for conferences and stuff too, yeah.
And I found a couple of apartments where I stayed. I just wanted to know where they were exactly in order to figure out how to travel from an airport to the location and stuff, but also just to check out if it's not a dodgy back alley or something. It is relatively easy to find stuff because they post pictures of the front of the house and then the windows, the views, and it's quite fun to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and there is usually a map associated, and it gives you not the exact location, but a good number of cross streets and stuff like that.
Yes.
So it's fun to go through and do that. I know that we have done that for a couple conferences, like in Indianapolis, and I think maybe in Louisville we did that for some of the Airbnbs that we stayed at, just to make sure they weren't super sketchy, and at least you knew how to get there and stuff. So yeah, we've done the same. It's fun, but it's also very helpful. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, just all the different posts on here with different amounts and reusing literally some of the same living room sets and stuff. And this is a pretty good article. I'll have to get into this one. This looks neat.
It'll be interesting to see when that stuff is combined with this rental does not exist. Have you been to that site?
Yeah.
Yeah, the pictures in there look really real. So, I mean, you theoretically could throw up a this rental does not exist, which is just a virtual picture of inside people's houses, and then go ahead and do the scam too. You don't even have to take pics inside a real place.
I've only seen this once, but there's also this startup does not exist. Mm-hmm. So they took this startup does not exist, which has a lot of that lopso wording in it, but they used from this rental does not exist as their as their headquarters type thing. So that was kind of interesting on that side too. Yeah, that's cool. All right, on to the next thing here. All right, open source intelligence techniques, edition 7. Let's see, right there.
Yeah, we all have it. Yeah.
I still got to order.
Poor Technisette.
Yeah.
It is funny because I saw everybody was like, "Oh, I've got my copy, I've got mine," and I had to wait for just the regular shipping. I didn't want to pay the extra $10 whatever for 2 days because I don't have Prime, whatever. So.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think of it?
Yeah, until now, I'm halfway. I think it's really good. What I really like is Bazell telling everybody now step by step how you can do all he has ever been teaching you yourself by hand. So how to set up your VM, how to set up your custom search engine, how to set up a Buscador, for instance, the VM he provided. But he also provides you with the tools all OSINT practitioners used to love, which were deprecated on his site. So, and now he tells you, well, here you have them again, but he also teaches you how to maintain them and how to maybe add new ones to them. So I think it's particularly good for everybody, beginning, advanced, novice. I don't care. I think it's a really good book. It's worth to buy.
Yep.
And I haven't even finished it yet. So maybe next in 2 weeks, when I finished it, I'll say, well, it's not worth to buy. No, but I'm kidding. It's a good book.
Yeah. It has all the old stuff in there from the workflows and stuff, and those have been updated. It does have the quote advanced Linux kind of tools, which I thought was kind of telling because it doesn't have a ton of them in there. It does have Skip Tracer, has ReconNG, has Spiderfoot, and I think it has Sherlock, which two of those are kind of relatively new tools. And I like Skip Tracer. Will put that out, I think maybe a year ago, maybe 2. I've had some problems with it, yeah, but he's always been very responsive, so it's always been good to check. Sherlock is always good too, but it's such a singular kind of tool for username enumeration. So it was just kind of telling that ReconNG and Spiderfoot. Well, Spiderfoot's something I use every day. I really enjoy Spiderfoot HX, but I don't want to see those kind of become the default tools because I think there's a lot of value in some of the other stuff, but. I think a lot of the casual users that pick this up for OSINT investigation for either penetration tests or vuln scans or something may drift towards those. And I think they're, especially ReconNG with it going to 5.1.3 or something like that, it's really revamped and amazing on Glad it's in Python 3 because I think everything's moving that way. But it's kind of telling that those are the ones that were picked out and put in the book. So I think that's kind of neat there, kind of give them their props due.
Yeah, what I also like, but I haven't read it yet, so I can't. But he's paying attention to reporting, and that's what I think. There's a lot of lack of in articles when it comes to OSINT research. People rarely talk on how important reporting is and how you can report stuff. So I'm hoping that will be a good section. So
I did see that.
But just glad that it's in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Draw a light on that stuff too. Yep. Yeah. No, it's good. I would recommend it if you're interested in it and you don't have any of the other editions. This is definitely a good one. If you have some of the other editions, it's fun to kind of bounce back and forth and see what used to work and what still works, and compare and contrast. It's kind of good. Okay, and Technisette, when you get it, you can give us a review of your copy as well. We'd love to hear that.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, the Blog Pirates. How to make Firefox an essential tool for OSINT. That sounds actually like something I'm surprised I haven't seen. That's neat. Who wants to talk about this one?
Yeah, I put that in there. The reason is that I know a lot of people use just Firefox and Chrome for their assessments. Chrome because of Hunchly, of course, but a lot of people like Firefox instead. And one of the things that this blog post shows you is how to secure Firefox more completely, to turn off telemetry, to turn on some things that will keep you safe, turn on things that will keep other people from knowing what you're doing in Firefox. Is it perfect? No. Are there ramifications if you do some of the things? Absolutely. Like as you're scrolling down there, the about config settings, you can majorly mess up how Firefox works by doing some of those things. You can always revert them, but I've gone through over the past couple of months and done some of these things and rolled some of them back as well. But yeah, it shows you how to fix some of the internal things within Firefox. But then also one of the things that people are always asking us on OSINT Curious is, what are your favorite modules? What are your favorite plugins for Firefox or Chrome? Here they actually list a bunch of the ones that they like. So just some more resources for people.
But somehow I haven't read it yet, but hearing you speak now and seeing the page scrolling, I've seen this before, but I just can't remember where.
So I know that Bezel also has a section on securing Firefox, and it does go into the about config. It was in his last book, I know, and maybe in this one too. I haven't seen. I think Justin Sykes also had something about Firefox hardening that stuff, and I know on OSINT.team, Fossa, the gentleman who created, or the entity who created the stuff, he's big on the Firefox browser as well. So I think it's been out there for a couple different places, but yeah, it's good to see, that it's coming back up. And it's so weird between like the command line stuff that a lot of people publish on GitHub versus the browser edition stuff where it's kind of the plugins and more visual. It's really neat to see how both of these are kind of coming into their own for OSINT investigation stuff, because it's not limited to you have to know Python, you got to download the source. You can be very visual and do Chrome or Firefox and do a lot of the same techniques and stuff and with those plugins. It's very cool.
Yeah. But also the basic hardening of your browser, yeah.
Absolutely.
Our user
fingerprinting and things like that, are definitely something you need to be aware of.
And one of our attendees, 856 blah blah blah. Sorry, you got a really long username. It says that this technique is in the Intel Techniques course, and Bezel spends quite some time on it in the course.
Yeah. I know he 100% is kind of against. Or I should say he's not against. He really he's very passionate about getting away from the Google ecosystem and getting away from Chrome and all that stuff. And Firefox is an excellent alternative, and then hardening that even more makes it better for anyone who's doing OSINT investigations online and stuff. So it is important to know, because like Chris Adnagi, like other people, whatever in the InfoSec kind of community say, it's what you do before that kind of matters. How you set up your stuff prior to either your investigation or your phishing attempts or whatever else you do. What you do before matters. So just take that to heart.
Agreed.
Excellent. Okay, moving on here to I'm gonna mess it up again. Bitmo. Vortimo. Sorry. Vortimo. No, I'm good.
Vortimo. I think it's Italian.
Is it? The Grudge put out something the other day saying that this was part of somebody who used to be from the Maltego team. Is that correct?
Yes.
I haven't vetted that. Okay.
That's correct. The founder of Maltego, he is now the founder of Fortimo, and from our understanding, he's not part anymore of the Maltego ecosystem, but he's now building Fortimo, and Fortimo is what is it? It's in my opinion, I've tested the beta version 2, and this is the beta version 3, which doesn't work as it's supposed to be rolled out because Chrome. The Chrome extension isn't rolled out, or at least blocked by Google because they said it was malware. Well, I'm hoping it's not, but it's basically a tool. You can compare it with Hunchly or Periscope or one of those capturing tools and visualization tools to keep track of your investigation. I like the speed from the beta 2. I know people starting in this field, and if you hand them out too many buttons and things to click, they will get lost. And if you look at this screen you've put up right now, you need to have a really good guide to let people understand what they are looking at, how they can analyze their information, what are the false positives, what conclusions you can draw by looking at this screen in general.
Yeah.
I
think the fault bit is you can get lost.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So for people on the podcast, it has a lot of places where you can go through and visit lists, visit galleries, visit images, and then you can also have your URLs on one side, your objects on another. It breaks out the timeline. It has a lot of information that just kind of hits you in the face all at once there. So yeah, it's we'll post the slides here in our show notes and stuff, just so everyone else can go through and kind of check it out. But it is, I also have the disabled tab right here is the tab that you use to go through and start the process for the collection. So it is version 2 that I have on mine as well. There is a channel, or is there a channel? I know that I know they're in OSINT.team. So I know that there is, the founders there. And if you have any questions, feedback, things like that, you can definitely go through and interface with them pretty well.
Yeah, friendly people, for sure.
Yes, 100%. And I'm sorry, Dutch, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to lose them. I want to make sure the people on the podcast and stuff.
I think it has really big potential, but it's just, for me, it's too overwhelming just to drop it as a beta already, and it's so overwhelming, and it has these short tutorials. I think when you release it, you should at least have like this, for my gut feeling, like an hour-long tutorial to start with. Oh
yeah, it does integrate a lot of tools here too. It has enrichment details, and it has Hunter.io, it has dehashed, have I been pwned, Intel X. I don't know the extent of all these, or if there's an API cost that you have to go through and kick in, just like Spiderfoot or anything else, whatever. And I've not dug in. Obviously, this 3 as well is not live.
Well, maybe we should get the people from Fortimo on, and they can tell us.
I think that's a brilliant idea. We should definitely have them
at least
on to at least talk a little bit about it. Then you can yell at them about how busy it is.
So I love the idea of competing tools, and I think we do need to mention, that this is extremely similar to Hunchly, and every time I see a release from Fortimo, every time I see a new release, hey, we've got these features, I look and it's like they're catching up to where Hunchly is. With the gallery and the page views, and it's like I was looking at their page and it says, hey, we do this, we show you on the page where all of these things are, and we do this recursively. Yeah, Hunchly's been doing this for over a year now, so I do think that they're mimicking the features of other tools that are already existing in the marketplace. maybe to spur competition or just because they think that they have a better way of doing it. Mortimo or
best in class stuff too. There are things that Justin Sykes and Hunchley and all of them have been doing, and they work. And now this is kind of the standard of what's we expect out of kind of that capture, which is nice because you don't want somebody to go through and try a product and it goes a complete different direction. But it is extremely similar to Hunchley, and it's very interesting. There's a free version too of something like this, and it's called Fire or something. I don't know if you guys remember. It's an open source project, and it does no.
Well, I know Periscope has this free community version. That's the Danish.
It's not free anymore.
Oh, They stopped it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's now everything is paid. It used to be free for the community version and then pay. No, it used to be free for the community edition and then the full version went to law enforcement for free. But now I think it's only for paid.
Oh.
Yep. Okay, we'll get into this last one here because we are running on time. I apologize. I talked too much. Okay, so this is vital information, the blog here, for managerisk.net, season 11, or so you want to be an open source researcher. And then it has a picture of Smallville in there for some reason. Who wants to go through and get into that stuff?
I have no clue what this is about.
Geolocate.
I'll scroll down a little bit more. Maybe that'll judge something. I think somebody tagged this with a hashtag OSINT curious. Oh, is this about the 10K? Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
So one of the things that So one of the things that people are saying in this blog is that you can do all of the wonderful people searching and OSINT and stuff, but you should definitely keep looking at the public documents that corporations have to file with whatever type of government agency or government entity they're associated with. So in the United States, we have the Security and Exchange Commissions, the SEC, where companies need to file annual reports, these documents called 10Ks. And they say, you could look at a whole bunch of things on websites and other stuff to get insights, but realistically, the company has already, if they're a public company, has already done the work for you and identifying risks and other things. One of the things that person noted is, I think it was a comment to this blog post is, they said that they were looking through some company's 10K filing. And it said, hey, we offset the cost of our new CEO's signing bonus by laying off 963 people. And wow. I mean, you could make that guess, in the real world, but the reality is that they have simply stated it right there in that 10K document. So if you are doing corporate type of research or research that take you into that area, look at the public filings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 10K is a gold mine for a lot of that stuff. And yeah, a lot of the stuff that you can do in OSINT and HUMINT, SIGINT stuff is wonderful, and it just kind of adds a layer to it. But yeah, don't skip the basics. The public information is definitely something they put out there. I know that we were just recently looking at some stuff through WHOIS and the RDAP stuff for administrator, whoever is the admin for that stuff, through registration. And it lists, emails, telephone numbers, persons on there that should be contacted if there's, it's separate from abuse, but if you had a question. So that type of stuff we were also digging into, but that's all public information there. So that's definitely something you should leverage. So awesome. Yep. Okay. And then the last thing here that we're looking at was this is the new keyword kind of search that Google's laying out. I forget, they had a name for it too, didn't they?
BERT.
That's right.
Yeah. So the next version will probably be Ernie. No. Sorry, I had to make that one.
That's getting live, son.
Yeah. No. Well, actually, it's really interesting because from an OSINT perspective, we are all used to using Boolean search operators, and now with natural language processing, Google gets quote unquote a little bit smarter, but it also gives us new opportunities or other ways to come up with search queries. For instance, when you scroll down a little bit, they give an example on that sentence, what you see right now, the 2019 Brazil traveler to USA need a visa. The word to is now being like natural language processed to make a little bit more sense. So if you scroll up, they explain why the word to matters in this sentence for how Google will present its results to you. And that's, I think, from an OSINT practitioner's perspective, you need to try and understand this. Because this is how, essentially, for us, a new way to maybe create searches with low volume and high probability, even more, without having to use, let's say, an in-text operator or an in-URL operator. Because with natural language processing, if you understand how the algorithm behind it works, and they refer to the actual source and modeling of it, and if you understand that, you can make really targeted and specific searches. So I think this is really important to understand, because this will be the next step in how to search engines.
Do you think with this and custom search engines, this will kind of refine a lot of the stuff, or do you think this will just remove a lot of the Google dork techniques?
Well, I think it's two-sided, because the Google dork techniques will always exist as long as they don't kill search operators
They'll always exist unless they don't.
Yeah, unless they don't. Yeah, it's just like the Facebook graph search. Well, we always want.
Yeah. True.
No, but I think this is just a natural growing process, because computers. I hate the sentence, how to say it. They get smarter, but they don't get smarter. But the algorithm behind it makes it more easy to grasp through all these large bulks of data, because the data is becoming bigger. So you need to go through them more efficiently, I guess. And I think with natural language processing, it gives you, I think, a better way. Computers will start to understand sentences or sarcasm, or because the vast majority of people, when they travel, for instance, they want to plan their travel, they won't type in a targeted query. They will type in an actual sentence with a question.
Yep.
And this is where this natural language processing comes in. Google trying to understand people asking their system actual questions instead of targeted keywords which are indexed in a database.
I'm going to ask a dumb question, because I only learn more when I ask dumb questions. So will the natural language processing stuff, will it eventually remove regex, or is regex just for the search type stuff, and then we don't need to go through and use NPL for that, or NLP?
It's hard to say. I think it will always both live hand in hand, because essentially underneath the hood, it will all be indexed text and tagged text. But now the word to, for instance, is tagged as to, as in going to somewhere or talking to you. So they can make sense of it in a sentence. And that's just the difference.
Yeah, and I do also think that regex is not really a good example, because regular expressions are pattern matching techniques, and this is just a whole different way of indexing and searching through really big data sets with a small front end or big front end that is processing sentences and language.
And that was the reason why I was asking, is because I know regex, and I'm not a master at regex at all. I'm trying to get better at like how their own operators kind of work with that stuff. But I know that it's basically for for pattern matching, but this is more for recognition and sentiment. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. And also grasping, how do you say that? The all the information in the question in relation to the other words to try and understand the human being that is typing that.
Right.
So these are two completely different things. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it was a loaded question, but I just wanted to ask it. That's fine. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Well, it's good to follow, kind of one of the leaders in the search engine game. And, obviously everyone's, who is in OSINT has heard of Google Dorks. So if there's a more efficient way to go through and use BERT and search and things like that, it's definitely something we should be aware of. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to turn this over to
Ginsberg.
What?
Ginsberg. I don't think we have time right now for a good, calm walkthrough of this from Sector.
Sure.
What I'd like to do is say, Sector, would you mind making a 10-minute tip of the Instagram walkthrough?
I'm going to give a 10-minute tip on the Instagram walkthrough, and I'm going to throw in a little bit of extra content in regards to Pinterest and just a little bit more about the whole developer toolkit in any regular browser.
Nice.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Well, I am sorry that I talked so much and that we didn't have time for that. Well, I also got started late because the time change and stuff, but really did want to say thanks for everybody kind of hanging out and stuff. We really always want to go through and give thanks. It is November. We can do that stuff. Okay. To the sponsors, we do want to say thank you to Sands. We do want to say thank you to Hunchley. OSINT Combine, we want to say thank you to them as well. And we also have a new Patreon donation person, and I'm also going to mess this name up. It's Swinsana, maybe?
I think you pronounced it pretty good. Yeah.
Damn,
I think it's good, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And I know we're coming up kind of on the hour and stuff. Let's do some shameless promotion before we get out of here. Let's see, Micah, you wanna kick us off there?
Yeah, just another hit that we are doing a Trace Labs Missing Persons Capture the Flag live in December in Washington, D.C. And we are going to be doing it at the Cyber Defense Initiative, or CDI event. So come take my open source intelligence class there, be there for a week, but also get to participate for free in the Trace Labs event. Do some OSINT for good with a great group of people. Also, there's anybody that is going to be going to CDI, whether you're taking my class or not, will have the opportunity to participate. And we're hoping that this Trace Labs and SANS partnership is something that lasts for a long, long time. So,
Hell yeah.
so we're hoping that there's other opportunities to do that.
Should be cool.
It looks like there's some other talks and some other stuff as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that looks awesome. And I believe I will be there, but I don't know. We'll see how all this stuff works out. But yeah, super excited for anything Trace Labs, just because it is OSINT for good, and they're doing great stuff. They're out. Were they just out, or are they now in Australia with you there? I think that was last
just out there last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool to see. And I think it might have even been Shadow Dragon, who also went through, Dan Clement, who helped out and sponsored some of that stuff. So it's good to see that there's other OSINT companies that are getting out there and sponsoring this stuff. There's a little backing from the community. It's not just stuff that we're doing at cons with volunteers and stuff. There's actually some people who are standing up and noticing that this is an OSINT for good type thing, and it's really awesome to see SANS buy in on this as well. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, Dutch, what do you got?
Nothing. It's been enough this month. So no new talks. I'm having a London SANS training coming up in 2 weeks, and that's it for this year on me.
We are kind of getting to the end of it, aren't we? I mean, it's November.
Of the year, yeah.
Yeah. It's been a year. It's funny because we were in DC in February. We did the first OSINT SANS summit there. And then it's been a long year for stuff, so this is awesome.
Yeah.
Technisette, where can people find you, and what interesting stuff are you doing?
Well, I've been mainly just focusing on my Twitter, and I've been neglecting my resource page a little bit, so I'm going to pay a lot more attention to it the next coming weeks. And I've got 2 more blogs up my sleeve for OSINT Curious, so hopefully I will get time to finish them and publish them soon. They will be on a little bit diving further into how to search on Facebook other than using graph search, and another one focused on cybercrime related incidents you may want to investigate using OSINT.
Nice. That is
so
awesome.
Stay tuned.
I know that I pointed someone at your Start Me page the other day for getting into kind of an OSINT type thing, like where to start. I'm like, well, let me just throw you in the deep end and send you over here. So that was kind of fun.
Haha, cool. Thanks.
Absolutely. It's a really good resource. So yeah, you should be proud of it. It's something that people utilize every day.
Thank you.
Sector, what are you doing? What do you got going on? What magic are you creating now?
You know me too well. I have a really busy private life. Things have changed quite a bit for me recently. Besides that, in about 2 weeks, I've got a private event coming up, invitation only. I'm preparing for that, and while we're doing that, let me have a look. The attendees, yeah, someone is still here. We uncovered something. There's a malware campaign running on the internet for quite a while, and I've been looking into that with a couple of people, and all of a sudden we thought, wow, we probably have a pretty nice story here. So, I'm working on that too. So,
wow, that's
blogs,
awesome.
10-minute tips now, a lot of stuff going on. I've got a new study coming up, events, too much, a little bit too much.
When I grow up, I want to be Sector. Nothing? Okay, that's fine. It's no big deal. Yeah. Okay. I think that's about it. Find me, Ginsberg5150 on Twitter. I've just kind of got my head down doing some of the stuff. We'll see some other stuff before the end of the year pop up on OSINT Curious. Other than that, I really don't have a ton of other things right now, but as long as these guys keep letting me on the webcast, I'll be here. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thank you for all the participants. Thanks for everybody for the questions, everything else coming through. It's been a good time digging back into OSINT, and we will leave you with that. Have a good Sunday, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.